All right, welcome back. We pick up where we left off, which is now at the publisher's names, or name of the publisher, names if there's more than one. This will hopefully be obvious perhaps on the inside of the front cover, maybe on the front cover, in the front matter. Somewhere you will have indication of who the publisher is, if it's a commercial publishing house or if it's a private organization. This will probably be the name of an organization. So you do your best to figure out what it is. And again, enter it in here. Again, you always have the option of 888 for unknown, but we use that as a last resort. Then 4B asks you what kind of publisher this is. Is it a government entity, the Ministry of Education, some other ministry, some branch of the domestic government in your country? Is it a bilateral or multilateral cooperation agreement? These are joint efforts between the government of your country and a lot of these international organizations that are associated with governments, USAID being the one that we work with a lot with the United States government. Here are some other common ones that you may come across. So if you see any of these logos on the front cover, then you will want to choose bilateral, multilateral as well, so that this option will show up. Again, if I deselect it in 4A, then it is skipping that question from 4. I'm sorry, if I deselect in 4B, then it is skipping 4C automatically. This is also a choose all that apply option, so if you accidentally choose more than one that does not apply, then you need to deselect it to make sure that you're only selecting the ones that you want. It may be, for example, if you have a university and it is a private nonprofit university, you could select both of those. It may be a Christian university, in which case you could select all three of those. If it's a regular for-profit publisher, it will probably be private commercial. If it's an individual, then it will be private self-published. Again, as a last resort, we have unknown. We don't want to use this unless we have to, but it is there as an option. You want to try to not guess, but to find out and be fairly confident of what kind of publisher this is. So you may need to select unknown for the time being and then come back later after you have verified and correct it. All right. Also, before we go on, we just want to point out that you will need to make an entry in the separate survey called Publisher Contact Information, which we saw at the very beginning in the first video. It's very easy. It's just the name and the address and any email and phone numbers for the publisher that you may have. You will only need to do that once per publisher, so even if you're entering 10 books by the same publisher, you will only need to make one entry in that separate survey, but you do need to make sure you get it in there, especially if you get anything from their website. We want to be sure we have their website address. We want to be sure we have their email and telephone numbers in case we need to follow up with them down the road to acquire their materials. So you want to, just as a reminder, be sure that each new publisher that you enter here, you also enter a separate entry in that other survey. All right. We also have the back button here. We, of course, want to go forward most of the time, but I do want to point out that you also have the option for going backwards. A little quirky thing about Tangerine is that it will not let you go backwards until you have filled out the whole page. In fact, it won't let you go forwards either. So even if you come to the page by accident and you want to quickly go back, you're going to have to go down and click Answers before it will let you move off of this page in either direction. We've filled everything out here, so we are ready to move on to the next page, so I will click Next.